Konnichiwa, Mushi Mushi, and welcome to Das German Critic. And hey, Osamia, macht's keiner. And on this episode, we're looking at the second film in our lineup of non-German films. And this time, we're going to Japan. To be more accurate, Tokyo, and to be even more specific, Shinjuku Goyen Park. Produced by Makoto Shinkai in 2013, this movie is the single refutation of any argument made on behalf of anime is just kids stuff. Well, so are Death Note and Corpse Party, but that's beside the point. What I mean is that, in terms of artistry and creativity, storytelling and ambience, this film is one of the most stunning and, above all, minimalist films to come out in recent years. And we're going to explore why. Before we begin, though, I would like to mention that any clips from the film will be in Japanese with German subtitles enabled. For one, because I want my German audience to actually understand what the characters are saying. Secondly, because even though the German dub of this film is excellent, I do want to show a foreign, non-German film in its original language. And thirdly, because the next film in this lineup will also be a non-German, but also a non-English speaking film, and I do want to keep things consistent. Oh, and because that film has fixed German subtitles when watching it in its original language. So grab some beer and some chocolate as we take a look at Makoto Shinkai's stunning, breathtaking, quiet, minimalist film, Koto no Ha no Niwa, The Garden of Words. The film begins in June with a narration by our protagonist Takao, voiced by Miyu Irino. You see, our protagonist always skips first period when it rains.
だから、空の匂いを連れてきてくれる雨は好きで、雨の朝はよく地下鉄には乗り換えずに改札を出る。
He takes the train to Shinjuku Goyen and, once there, heads straight to a pavilion located in the southwest of the park, which basically implies that that's his go-to location. And the great thing about this setting, this park and the pavilion actually exist. Now, if you go on Google Street View, you can't actually go into the pavilion, but you can get close enough to get a good look at it. The only difference to the real thing is that in the movie, the central pillar was removed, largely because of angles used in later scenes of this film. When Takao arrives, though, he's stunned to find another person already sitting there. A strange woman Takao has never seen before, voiced by Kana Hanazawa. And who is this mysterious stranger? Well, I can't tell you at the moment who she actually is, but I can tell you what she does. Drinking beer and eating chocolate. And, since it appears that both have nothing specific to do, the two awkwardly strike up a conversation.
どこかでお会いしましたっけ？
いえ。
すいません。人違いです。
いえ。鳴神の少し豊見て差し曇り雨も降らんか君をとどめ。
So after this first meetup, we're introduced to Takao's older brother Shota, voiced by Takeshi Maeda, and, during dinner, we find out about Takao's familiar situation.
家で。
ラッキー、コロッケは負けたな。
探さないでくださいって手紙にあったけど、本当にいいのかな。
ほっとけよ。どうせ彼氏と喧嘩して帰ってくるだろ。部屋決めてきた。来月出てくから。
一人暮らし？
彼女と住む。
それが家出の原因なんじゃないの、母さんの。昨日話したの。
ああ、いい加減子離れしてほしいぜ。自分を一回りも下の男と付き合ってるくせに。
いいわよ。じゃあ私も彼氏と住むもん。
あの人若く見えるからね。
苦労してないから若いんだよ。その分お前が老けてくな。
ごちそうさま。俺が老けないように洗い物よろしく。
The next day, Takao again goes to the park, again goes to the pavilion, and again meets the mysterious woman. Okay. Foot fetish much? Actually, no. While he is fascinated by her feet, his fascination is more of a platonic nature. Takao is an aspiring cobbler. That's it. That's all there is to it. The lady then rightly asks Takao why he's not in school. To which Takao gives a fitting response.
会社は休みですか?
The woman then asks Takao if he's hungry and then offers him a bunch of chocolate bars.
会社は休みですか?
I don't know what it is, but I always have to laugh when I see that scene.
食べる?
Their second meeting is followed up by a montage of Takao and the lady meeting several more times, Takao working to afford the entry fee for a cobbler school, him designing shoes, and getting into trouble for continuously skipping class. Of course, apart from being accompanied by the just beautiful soundtrack, and I mean beautiful soundtrack, this montage is also interspersed with a monologue by our main character, through which we learn a little bit more about him.
晴れの日には自分がひどく子供じみた場所にいるような気がして、ただ焦る。仕事とか社会とか、あの人が普段いるのであろう世界は俺にはとても遠い。まるで世界の秘密そのものみたいに彼女は見える。はっきりと分かっていることは2つだけ。あの人にとって15の俺はきっとただのガキだということ。そして靴を作ることだけが俺を違う場所に連れて行ってくれるはずだということ。
Cut to the station where we see the lady presumably on her way to work. But, for whatever reason, she changes her mind and decides to go back to the park instead. There, she sees Takao sitting, where else, in the pavilion, drawing. Being curious, the lady looks over his shoulder. A reaction that, I think, anyone who has even a vaguely creative or artistic streak to them can readily relate to. I mean, hey, I wouldn't want anyone to read my unfinished scripts for this show. Anyway, it turns out the lady brought her own self-cooked food. However...
ちょっと私あまり自信ないから料理自業自得よ。
Takao dozes off, and while sleeping, we get a dream flashback to when Takao was a boy.
早く来いよ。
待ってよお兄ちゃん。高尾気をつけて。
お誕生日おめでとうお母さん。
ありがとう。3人で何選んでくれたのかな。
The scene is designed to explain his early onset foot fetish. Whoops, my bad. I meant to say his early onset passion for shoemaking. Cut back to the pavilion where the lady asks herself whether it's quote-unquote too late for her, a question that will be relevant later on. After this, the lady returns home to her apartment where we see more booze and chocolate. There's also the shot of a few books. However, if you can't read or don't speak Japanese, then their entire meaning is lost. Which is strange because there are quite a lot of anime, very good anime I might add, that actually do subtitle this stuff. Regardless, the woman calls or gets called by her ex. We know this because their talk is both work-related and they briefly talk about their past relationship. Also, she talks to him about her meetups with Takao.
そのおばあちゃんに会えてさ。誰ってほら、公園のその弁当を持ってきてくれるっていう人。お互いいい気晴らしだろ。うん。ゆっくり休めよ。
Oh, and by the way, there is something in this scene that is artistically very important. You don't know what it is? Let's look at it again.
お互いいい気晴らしだろ。うん。ゆっくり休めよ。
Don't see it? Let's take another look.
お互いいい気晴らしだろ。うん。ゆっくり休めよ。
This is one of the many strengths of Shinkai's animation. A few other scenes bear this out masterfully. There is no reason for the car to drive over the tracks. There is no reason for the lights to go on the other side of the street. And there is absolutely no reason for the cop car to be driving down the street. None of these things either A, further the plot, or B, tell us anything about the characters. So why show them? Because it makes the world they live in a touch less plastic and a touch more realistic. But getting back to the film, in the lady's apartment, we also see a book on shoemaking. She takes the book to the pavilion and gives it to Takao as a present. And this book leads to the closest thing this film has to an erotic scene. The animation, of course, is impeccable. The way she takes off her shoe, the way she stretches her slender, well-proportioned bare foot, the skill with which she takes his instruments and her foot before working on the blueprint for what will be a new pair of ladies' shoes. Yet, they never get any closer, personal, or physical than that. And speaking of distance, I think it's important to talk about the overall theme in Shinkai's movies. Just like any other writer and or director, Shinkai has one theme that is consistent throughout all his works. You know, like how Miyazaki has his theme of pacifism and nonviolence, Emmerich has his conspiracy theories, and Uwe Boll has, well, shit. But I digress. Shinkai's theme is that of distance. More specifically, distant relationships, which he expresses throughout his work. Be it a cat not understanding his owner, a long-distance friendship, two people both coping with the loss of a loved one, or a tender touch that amounts to nothing more than a simple gesture needed to begin a craft. We then see the lady on her balcony and in her apartment listening to the weather forecast. Why is this important? Well, because the weather forecast tells us that the rainy season in Tokyo has officially ended, which means two things. For one, people now come to the pavilion who don't come otherwise, which means the lady can't hide anymore. And secondly, Takao no longer has an excuse to skip first period. It's now September and Takao is back at school. Here, we meet his two classmates Sato and Matsumoto, voiced respectively by Megumi Han and Suguro Inoue. The two give him shit for always skipping first period when something unexpected happens in the hall. Yep, turns out the mysterious lady with the beautiful, well-proportioned foot is actually a teacher at his school. What's interesting to point out in this scene is the stark contrast between the brevity of this moment and the long period of time she and Takao have spent so far. Through Takao's classmates, we get an exposition on what happened to Miss Yukino.
雪乃ちゃん、3年の女子たちとずっと揉めてたらしいぜ。
っていうか、雪乃先生は全然悪くないのよ。誰かの彼氏が雪乃先生に惚れちゃったとかでさ、逆恨みしてクラス全員で散々先生に嫌がらせして、親にまでデタラメの噂ばらまいて、学校に来れなくなるまで追い込んで。
Takao thus seeks out the evil 12th graders to get revenge. And does he deliver? Does he go in there, rough them up, and so reclaim fair lady's taken dignity? Nope. He gets the shit kicked out of him. Oh, but only after he bitch slaps one of the girls for shit-talking Miss Yukino. Okay, that was funny. Can we see that again?
キモくない？雪乃年いくつか知ってんの？
She's 27, you stupid bitch. So after this, Miss Yukino and Takao meet again in the park, where she apologizes for not having told him that she was a teacher of classic Japanese literature, in which the tanka finally comes into play. Yet, we've only been shown the first half of the poem. The second half is concluded in this scene.
なるかみの少しとよみて降らずとも我は止まらんいもしとどめば。
そう、それが正解。私が最初に君に言った歌の返し歌。
雨が降ったら君はここにとどまってくれるだろうか。そういう歌に対して雨なんか降らなくてもここにいるよって答えてる。万葉集教科書に載ってました。
Seeing his bruises, she asks what happened to him, and he at first makes a booze joke, but then divulges that, from time to time, he does get into fights. And then the rain sets in, and this time it's pouring. And since it's gotten considerably colder because of it, Miss Yukino takes the two to her apartment. But first, let's talk about the rain scenes in this movie. Before we see the two in her apartment, we get several meditative shots of rainy Tokyo. And if this seems all too real for you, that's because it is. From what I could gather from Wikipedia and other sources, Shinkai and his team spliced actual photos of Shinjuku Goyen in Tokyo with their own animation, thus creating these stunning and, quite frankly, breathtaking visuals. Especially the rainy scenes. I'm totally serious. Every time there is a rainy scene in this movie, like one of those meditative shots, you literally want to just like extend your hand, like touch into the screen, and then feel the drops on your skin. It looks that good. Getting back to Miss Yukino's apartment though, we get a heartwarming scene where she irons their clothes and he makes the two a hot, tasty meal. Unlike the thing that he had to eat around the 14-minute mark. Takao uses this opportunity to divulge to Miss Yukino that he may kind of fallen in love with her. Miss Yukino then tells him that, even though this may be how he feels, it's of no real impact as she's leaving for Shikoku to live with her parents. Which, by the way, is something that has been long since settled, and it's not just something that she's saying to just blow Takao off. Like any reasonable person, Takao thus simply thanks her for everything and leaves the apartment. However, unknown to him, Miss Yukino actually does feel the same about Takao as he does for her, and so she runs after him before the two part for good. And now we come to the most disliked scene in the entire film. I am serious. Ask anyone who has seen this film and they will tell you that this scene is the weakest moment of it. Okay, so basically this is what happens. The two reconvene outside of the staircase. Takao bitches and moans and strawmans about how Miss Yukino thinks he's just a kid and how she's masking her own inadequacy and pretending she could feel something for him. The scene is completely out of touch and out of tone with the entirety of the film. Now, I would understand it if the rest of the film had been like this, but in my opinion, there are only two excuses that justify all this. The first would be that, during the writing process, Shinkai went completely overboard, or that this entire scene looks better on paper than it actually does on screen. The second excuse may be that this is actually part of some Japanese style of storytelling that I'm not familiar with. Why that? Because there is another anime out there that has a similar, shall we say, problem. I am, of course, talking about School Days. School Days is what's known as a harem anime. One guy in love with one girl, a bunch of girls falling for one guy, you get the picture. For 11 episodes, we follow the lead character Makoto around as he swoons and bonks his way through school. All except the last episode. And saying that the last episode of School Days is infamous would be an understatement. What happens? One of the many girls he bonked comes to his house, takes a fucking butcher knife, and stabs him to death. And, just like this scene, it's completely out of tone and touch when compared to the other 11 episodes. But, thankfully, the Garden of Words has enough character to come back to its original tone rather quickly.
歩く練習をしていたのはきっと俺も同じだと今は思う。いつかもっと遠くまで歩けるようになったら会いに行こう。
With all that said, the film is more or less over. And the great thing about this film is you can even fap artistically to the credits, as the background not only changes in daytime, but also changes in season. This change in seasons leads to the very last scene, in which Takao returns to the pavilion during winter and reads a letter sent to him by Miss Yukino. So this was Kotonoha no Niwa, the Garden of Words. And seriously, what else could I possibly say about this film? Well, in keeping with the tradition of our carnival lineup, and the way I did in Jumanji, we're going to start by talking about the bad stuff in this movie. Problem is, though, The scene on the outside stairway is the only really bad scene in this film, and I just spent a good chunk of time bitching, whining, and moaning about that. So I'll just ask this. In all the years of teaching and learning at this school, they never bumped into each other? Never saw each other when coming in the morning? Never saw each other when going home? Never had Miss Yukino as a substitute or anything? Don't know about you, but I kind of find that hard to believe. Yet, thankfully, there is still a lot of good stuff in this film that completely overshadow all those minor little pesky details. The animation is flawless, especially the countless scenes of Lady Shinjuku Goyen and Tokyo. The German dub of this film is very well made, and our two main characters are very well written. Not only that, because, in all honesty, I find Miss Yukino to be pretty attractive. Not just physically, but also as a person as well, and I think it would be very interesting to have a discussion with her on classic Japanese literature. Additionally, I do appreciate the minimalism of this film. The fact that we only have two protagonists filling up the majority of screen time. And the fact that the majority of the scenes take place in the pavilion. It all feels like a chamber play. A chamber play out in the open. And yeah, I know I've already bitched and moaned and whined about that one scene that we're not going to talk about anymore, but there are still two things that need to be addressed. For example, the Garden of Words exists in manga form, written, of course, by Shinkai himself. And this manga has a sequel, which gets my hopes up of seeing an anime sequel someday. And secondly, why is there no live-action version of this film? Even Prison School got the live-action treatment! Okay, granted, Prison School is fucking hilarious, and it's really funny seeing some of the wackier scenes done in live action, but Prison School isn't good. It's not Garden of Words by any stretch of the imagination. This was Das German Critic, and this film officially gave me a foot fetish. Okay, maybe not fetish, but this word is still a good transition into our next film. What's it about? 3 words, ladies and gentlemen. Swedish 90s lesbians.